Good morning all. Hope you are doing very well. Now, here in this video we are going to continue chapter number 14. In the previous video we have discussed in detail about the northern Himalaya plains, where we have seen about the three different parts of the Himalaya region. Then we have discussed about the various mountainous areas which is located in the Himalaya. After that we have discussed about the greatest northern plains. I am repeating, great northern plains. Now here in this video we are going to continue with Peninsula Plateau, and then we are going to talk about the two different types of plateau according to the direction. We have divided this two plateau which is known as the Malwa Plateau, and then we are going to talk about the Deccan Plateau. So let us have a look at the Malwa Plateau. First of all, before we continue with this, let me revise one important point, that is what is the meaning of plateau. In the previous video, with the help of diagram, I had shown you the difference between the mountain and plateau. When we are having mountainous ranges like this, the topmost portion we are supposed to observe. So this particular portion we are having point A, and this portion we call it as the peak. Okay. As compared to this, when we are talking about the plateaus, mountainous areas are like this. Okay. The topmost portion of this particular portion or mountain is quite flat as compared to the mountainous areas. Such type of area we call it as the plateau. I hope it is clear to you. When we are talking about the mountains, when we are having the pointed type of edge or the corner or the top portion of it, we call it as a mountainous range, or this portion we call it as the peak. As compared to that, when we are talking about the plateau, the flat, the topmost portion of the mountain area is the flatter one, and we are able to develop many more portion of the mountain. We have developed many tourist places. Tourist places because the atmosphere is quite pleasant. The height is going to be similar of mountain and the plateau. Only few differences there, but still the atmosphere over here is very pleasant. What is the reason? Because of the presence of the height. Okay, and we all are very aware, very nicely aware that atmosphere is quite pleasant over here, and we can enjoy in such type of areas, specifically during the summer season. I hope the meaning of plateau is quite clear to you. Now we are going to have a look over plateau. This is the oldest region of India. This region appears as an inverted triangle. Okay, what is the meaning of inverted triangle? When we are talking about triangle, it is something like that, and when we are talking about inverted one, it is a ulta triangle. Okay, so this is what we call it as the inverted triangle. I have shown you here. So this is, suppose if this is the plateau, obviously this is a triangle. I hope it is clear to you. When we are observing the map of India, at that time this particular point will be very clear to you. So in front of your eyes, you are going to bring the map of our country, which we have already discussed in chapter number 13 and 14 up to some extent. Okay. Now we are going to talk about the height of the plateau. It is approximately 600 to 900 meters high. The plateau's height is around 600 to 900 meters high. This is an average height. Okay, its northern part slopes towards the northwest. I hope you remember the direction, which is evident from the flow of Chambal, Son and Damodar rivers. In the beginning of this chapter, we have already discussed that how, and in the end of 13th chapter, we have already discussed that how various types of physiographies can be seen on the earth. Okay, so I think I should not repeat the same. The southern part slopes towards the southeast. Most of its area is in the southern part, hence this is known as the southern plateau. I hope this particular point is quite clear to you, and this particular question can be asked to you, what is the meaning or why this particular plateau is known as the southern plateau? Because its slope is maximum towards the southern part, we call it as the southern plateau. Okay. As it is surrounded by the sea from the three sides, it is known as a peninsular plateau. I hope it is clear to you. This particular point we have discussed in the beginning of this video as well. What is the meaning of the word peninsula? When we are talking about the peninsula, that means we are talking about a piece of land which is covered from three sides water, that we call it as the peninsula. Okay, and because of that only these plateaus are known as a peninsular plateau, and among this we have two different plateaus. One is a Malwa plateau and another one is a Deccan plateau. So Malwa plateau, it is located in the Aravalli range to the northwest part of Malwa. Aravalli, once again I am asking, range means a number of mountainous areas or hills are coming together. We call it as the range. Okay, Aravalli is one of the oldest ranges in the world. So here in a very short, in this particular chapters, that is chapter number 13 and chapter number 14, you are supposed to keep the location and the places in your mind, which is quite important, because it is going to be with the help of directions only we are able to understand that which particular portion or which land is located in which area. Okay, now Mount Abu is the famous hill station on this range, and we all have visited. It is very pleasant, and we have seen that from the topper portion it is flat, and because of that only it is helping maximum time for development of the tourism. It is very beautiful and pleasant. Guru Shikhar is its highest peak, and the height of Guru Shikhar is 1722 meters. Okay. To the south of this region, river Chambal and Betwa emerging from Vindhyachal flow towards and meet the river Yamuna, while river Son flow northwards and meets river Ganga. For this, if you want to see this particular thing more better, then you can visit the Statue of Unity, that is the statue of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. From the heart of that particular statue, you will be able to see all these things very clearly. The view from that particular point is very clearly, you will be able to identify all this hills individually. Okay. So this is one of the practical thing which you can observe. So as in when you are going for the holiday, you can observe all such kind of a thing. Okay, it can be known from the direction of river flow that the region slope northwards. The northeastern part of the central upland, it is known as the Bundelkhand. Okay, that means here we are talking about the borders between the Gujarat and the Rajasthan. Besides this, river Luni and Banas also originate in the Aravalli ranges in northeast. These rivers vanish. Vanish means what? It is getting over or it is getting completed. Okay, it is getting vanished in the run of Kutch. That means when it is beginning, it is starting from the northern part, it is moving and it is getting mixed in the run of Kutch. Now you are going to have a question mark. How it is possible that the river is going to get merged into the run of Kutch? So do we have any water body over there? Yes. Okay. So that you have to once again bring the map in front of your eyes and you will be able to see that. Okay. While Sabarmati and Mahi rivers meet the Gulf of Khampar. Again, Gulf, it is one of the water body. Okay. From the flow, this river, it can be ascertained that the western part of Malwa Plateau slopes toward the southwest. Rajmahal Hills and Shillong Plateau are the part of Chota Nagpur, which is including Ranchi Plateau. So this is the description about Malwa Plateau, which are the places and which are the hillocks or hill ranges is located in this area we have discussed right now with the help of textbook. Now we are going to talk about the Deccan Plateau. The Deccan Plateau is situated in the south of Satpura. Mahadev and Michael ranges, which are located to the south of the Malwa Plateau. The northwestern part of the plateau are composed of lava deposits. I hope you remember the 13th chapter and the last video which I have shared with you, in which I have shown you how various types of physiographies are taking place, and that particular thing we have seen with the help of diagram. Once again, to revise, I have shown you in that particular portion the two levels, levels of the earth we have seen, and we have seen that this particular portion is the fire. Okay, because of the movement of the fire, because of the fire, constantly present in the center of the earth. The second level of the earth is constantly having semi-liquid form which is moving. Okay, and when we are having obstacles, number of natural calamities are taking place, which is resulted in either lava and in or uneven land. Okay, so according to that, here the result, the Deccan Plateau was created just because of the lava deposits. Okay, so this is one of the best example how these plateaus are getting created or how they came into existence. On the western side, its border is demarcated by Western Ghats, which runs north-south along with the Arabian Sea. It has several local names. Now, what is the meaning of local name? This particular plateau is known as different names in different areas. So, which are they? It is known as a Sahyadri in Maharashtra and Karnataka, Nilgiri in Tamil Nadu, Andamalai and Kadam ranges among the border of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. The south portion of Western Ghat is more lofty. Before we will continue with this lofty portion, I would like to say that I hope you have understood that this particular region, that is Deccan Plateau, is continuously located in various states of our country. So from this you should understand that how long this plateau would be. Okay, so the same region, same Deccan Plateau is located, or they are named in a different manner in different states. Okay, now generally the average height of Deccan Plateau is 900 to 1000 meters. Okay, but at a few places it exceeds that height. That means it is going above 1000 meters. Okay, few isolated hills having more than 900 meter. Isolated का मतलब क्या होता है? The plateaus which are separated, that is not present in the range. As we have seen here, this is what we call it as the range. But when you are talking about the plateaus located single or differently, that we call it as the isolated one. I hope it is clear to you. Okay. Now, the isolated plateaus are also known as the Eastern Ghats. It has a general slope towards the southeast, which is evident that is the proof from the direction of the flow of river, except river Narmada and Tapi, which flow westwards. Most of the rivers of Deccan Plateau flow eastward and meet Bay of Bengal. So this is the movement of the rivers which is emerging in this plateau and then they are moving in Bay of Bengal. After that, we are going to talk about the coastal plains. I hope it is clear. The word itself is saying that plains which are located around or near coastal areas, we call it as coastal plains. Okay. So to discuss about the coastal plains, Peninsular Plateau is surrounded by a narrow belt of plain of Kutch to Odisha. Remember the direction from Kutch, look at my hand, from where it is moving, Kutch to Odisha, the central portion of our country. Okay, not exactly central, but it is quite nearby. It is divided into western and eastern coastal plains. The west coast plain extends from Gujarat to Kerala. Except in Gujarat, the plain is mostly narrow. What is the meaning of narrow? A small belt. This is what we call it as the narrow. Okay. When we are talking about the coastal plain, it is something like that. You will be able to see the width of this particular portion. Here we are able to see it is wider, but as it is moving down, it is getting narrower. Okay. So this is what we call it as the narrow coastal plain. Now, as it is moving towards Gujarat, it is turning in this manner. Okay. Now, it is very much undulating and is known as the Malabar coast to the south of Goa. Malabar coast. Okay. West Coast river have developed creeks are there estuaries. Creeks means छोटे छोटे गड्ढे, a small portion, like small portion of land which is having creeks, छोटे छोटे गड्ढे जिसको हिंदी में बोलते हैं, and it is developed on their estuaries. Estuaries का मतलब क्या होता है? Borders. Okay. Most of these creeks are submerged valleys under the river. And why this particular creeks are taking place? Because as we have seen the movements here below, in the second layer of the earth or second layer of the land. Okay. In the same manner, this particular movements are also taking place below the water, under the water. Okay, and because of that only we are having, or it is developing, the creeks. Okay, this is what the thing is, and as and when water is constantly moving, different types of seasoning is happening. Okay, so it is getting submerged, that means it is going below the water. I hope it is clear to you. This particular, to give you this particular example, when you are going, अगर आप लोगों में से कोई भी सी या कोस्टल सी में गया होगा, सी फेज पे गए होंगे, तो वहाँ पे आपको एक एक्सपीरियंस होगा, पर्टिकुलर लेवल तक आप लोगों को एक इवन लैंड मिलती है, even when you are entering in the water, but after that as you are moving further, somewhere you are having this creeks, छोटे छोटे गड्ढे होते हैं. Okay, and this particular thing it will be quite easy to see you when the water will go back. Okay, so I hope this word is quite clear to you. Now, to continue with the discussion, most of these creeks are submerged valleys under the river water. These are formed due to emergence of seashore. Just now I have spoken and I have given you an example. It provides favorable condition for the fishery. There are many natural ports on the western coast. To give you more example about the creeks, let me tell you one more example. If you have visited Mumbai Mahalakshmi, I don't remember that whether it is allowed or not. वहाँ पर छोटे छोटे rocks हैं, बहुत सारे rocks वहाँ पे है. अगर आप वहाँ पे खड़े रहकर भी देखोगे ना, तो वहाँ पे आपको ये दिखाई देते हैं कि rocks जो है उसके बीच में it is naturally वहाँ पर पानी for time being वहाँ पर पानी आता है, and then during particular time period it is getting into the water is overcoming, उसके ऊपर पूरा पानी कवर कर देता है. So this is one of the example to see it practically. If you will see it in the Google, you will be able to see. Okay, now there are many natural ports on the western coast which include Mumbai and Marmagaon. Okay, this is the name of a place, Marmagaon. Backwaters have developed along the southern coast of Kerala, and these are known as Kyle in local language. Okay, so what is that? It is coastal area in the Kerala, and the name is Kyle. East coast plain is much broader than the western coastal plain. There is substantial alluvial deposition. Alluvial word I have explained you previously also, so I am not repeating it again. But alluvial, when we are talking, it is one of the most fertile soil. Okay, and then as and when we are having the alluvial soils around or in any area, it is very much useful for the development. Deposition in the deltas of Kaveri, Krishna, Godavari and Mahanadi. Its northern coast is known as a North Sircar. I am repeating the word North Sircar coast. And the Tamil Nadu coast is known as the Coromandel coast. I am repeating, the Tamil Nadu coast is known as the Coromandel coast. Okay. So this is something about the coastal plains. We have discussed about various ports and various directions and which plain is known and very useful for us. After that we are going to talk about the archipelages, the last point. Okay. When we are talking about the archipelages, there are few archipelages in India. Andaman Nicobar and Lakshadweep are major archipelages among them. There are many smaller islands in Lakshadweep, and these are located at the distance of Kerala coast. This island have a horseshoe shape. Such coral island is known as a atolls. Can you tell me what is the shape of horseshoe? Have you ever seen? when we are talking about the horseshoe, it is something like this. Okay. This type of a thing will be there. So that is what we call it as the horseshoe. It will be similar, even place. Okay. हमारे घर के बाहर जनरली बहुत सारे घरों के बाहर ये लगाया जाता है. तो ये जो आइलैंड है, ये जो पर्टिकुलर आर्कियोलॉजी है, वो इसी शेप का है. कौन सा? आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द लक्षद्वीप. There are number of smaller islands located here in this particular place, and Lakshadweep, it is in the shape of horseshoe. Okay, and because of that only it is known as a atlas. The spelling is ATOLLS, atlas. Okay, Andaman Nicobar Island are situated in Bay of Bengal. Here the number of islands is also more, and these are situated very far from Indian coast. There are few mountain ranges, some of which are formed due to volcanic activity. Once again, we have seen, we are supposed to talk about this particular diagram. Because of this particular movement, once again, the places are developed. Okay. Now, these islands are spread over 350 kilometers and have a strategic importance. Once again, the same point is coming, which we have discussed in the first chapter of history. India is having a strategic location. What is it? What does it mean? Strategic, that means you are having location or you are placed somewhere in the central area so that rest of the things, or you can have the relation with the neighboring parts, that is either with the countries or with the states. Okay. Now there is a diversity in the physical features of India. We have already discussed about the region, and we have already discussed about the 5 different types of physiography. Every region has its own distinct characteristic, and yet all regions are interconnected. We cannot separate all these regions. Okay, all of them have important contribution in the progress of the nation and are useful in the forest resources. Northern fertile plains are also known as the storehouse of the grains, because we are having plain areas over there, we are having alluvial soil over there, and as we have discussed previously, the soil which is remaining in the water body more is having more humidity or fertility capacity, and because of that only we are having various food grains very easily producing in this area, and because of that only it is known as the storehouses for the grain. Okay. Southern Plateau is rich in many mineral resources which has enhanced the national progress. Many rivers with large volume of water originate in the northern mountains region, which is also known as a variety of forest resources. So in this video we have completed the discussion of the physiography. I hope it is quite clear and easy to understand. Thank you.